and I want to welcome you to the Indiana Perinatal Network and Indiana Breastfeeding Coalition webinar. And we are sponsored by WIC. We thank them for their sponsorship. I'm here to introduce our speaker for today, and she has graciously agreed to share a lot about what their hospital does for outpatient lactation consultants. And her name is Gretchen Moody, and she is an RN IBCLC and the lactation coordinator at the Women's Hospital in Newburgh, Indiana, and that's down near Evansville. And she's worked at the Women's Hospital since 2004 as a lactation consultant and obtained her IBCLC in 2007. She started her experience with mothers and babies working in public health at the Gibson County Health Department and continued helping mothers while working in labor and delivery at St. Mary's Medical Center. She loves helping mothers reach their breastfeeding goals. And we're very happy to have you, Gretchen, and I think we're ready for you to start.
Okay, thank you, Chris. I was a little bit nervous about this when Tina asked me to do it. I said yes without hesitation, but soon realized I had agreed to do something was a bit out of my comfort zone. So just bear with me, and I hope you enjoy what you hear today. So what you see on the presentation is the Women's Hospital, which we are a freestanding women's hospital, like Chris said, in Newburgh, Indiana, which is in the Evansville area. So that means we are a hospital-based outpatient lactation program. So I hope you find this talk useful to your practice. This next slide is just a picture of Great Beginnings. This is where we see all of our moms and babies when they come in. This is right past the main entrance of our hospital. And so they would come in and go to one of our rooms that we have in our store. Great Beginnings is a continuing care after discharge and bringing lactation services to the community. So the purpose of this presentation today will be to explore the history of the lactation program and how outpatient services were developed, to identify problems with outpatient program and how they were overcome, to identify successes of the program, to discuss programs for the community started by the lactation department, and help other agencies get started with their own outpatient lactation center. So what we'll discuss today is who we are, where we've been, where we are now, how we got here, and what we do. So who we are. Great Beginnings is a comprehensive outpatient lactation center, or an OLC, which I will refer to later, located at Deaconess Women's Hospital. It was established to provide services for the mother-baby dyad requiring assistance with breastfeeding issues after discharge from the hospital. Great Beginnings was designed to integrate inpatient and outpatient lactation services, including consultations, follow-up phone calls, weight checks, bra fittings, and breast pump rentals. We have also extended services into the community with grants by creating support groups and programs like the Milk Bucks program, and that's to help NICU moms continue breastfeeding after baby is discharged from the NICU. And that Milk Bucks program included a free consultation and also breastfeeding supplies like breast pads and lanolin and storage bags. So where we've been, the Women's Hospital opened in 2001. The CEO had a vision for all mothers to get the care they deserved and needed, and lactation was a big part of that. And that was a big key to our success because having our management on board was vital in our department, and because she believed lactation was a valued service to all mothers that attributed to our success. We were the first hospital in the area to dedicate lactation staff Monday through Friday with 2 LCs each day. One challenge we had when our doors opened, we had no forms for charting, education, or consents, so we had to start from the ground floor working with that. We had 3 LCs, and 2 of those were IBCLCs. The one challenge with that is when we first opened, one of our IBCLCs was not a nurse, and we learned quickly that we wanted to establish that the IBCLCs working in the hospital setting needed to be a nurse. So Great Beginnings wasn't even a thought at this time, but we quickly began to see the need for services beyond discharge. We started seeing moms and babies in our little outpatient inpatient office. This quickly became a challenge as the hospital and department grew. We didn't have the room we needed, so we started to dream. We developed our pie-in-the-sky plan of what we would want our outpatient clinic to look like. This task took us several years. So the things we had to consider were location. We got really lucky on this because we had our lab, which was in the front of the hospital, closed, and so there was space open, and we were graciously allowed to use that space. Other things to consider were the items we were going to carry. At first, we didn't really think we would be a retail store, but as we looked into what we wanted to do and did some research, we decided that carrying retail items for mothers would be a great attribute to have for our program. So we needed to have room for our weight checks and consults. We had to consider what our budget would be, staffing, how we would staff it, charging, which we did not want to do. We had never done that before, and as lactation consultants, what we want to do is help people. We don't really want to ask them for money, so we still struggle with this to this day. We do have a consultation fee, but sometimes we just waive that fee because we don't want to ask mothers for money when they come into our office and they're crying and they just need some help. Also, the hours that we would be open. So where we've been, from 2001, which is when the hospital opened, to 2006, we went through a lot of changes and a lot of just figuring out what we needed to do as a department. So we defined the role of the LC. We created chart forms and resources for the patients. We started out with just a basic kind of Cardex chart, and then we developed it into like a trifold with resource or assessment tools, and then like check boxes, so we were anticipating our electronic medical record, and that became useful when we did move into our electronic medical record and putting our input in on what we wanted to see that look like. We established workflow for patients, which that would look like how many LCs on the floor, so how many patients we have, and LCs for patients to be seen on the floor, and then how many people we were going to see outpatient-wise. Established follow-up after discharge, so we started calling moms 48 hours after discharge, and we didn't really have any formal way of doing that, so we had to establish that also. Privacy was a big issue because we were just making phone calls from our office. That's why the outpatient center was a vital thing for us. We have increased staffing, extended inpatient coverage gradually over the years, and as you can see, our outpatient visits increased. In 2001, they did 10 visits, all the way to 2006, they did a little over 1,200. We expanded the role in the NICU, so those NICU moms that were struggling with breastfeeding and milk supply, they would have a personal contact in there to help them with their lactation needs. We established support groups and department planning, which this is the most vital thing, and I think the thing that we do is get together as a department and discuss kind of what we want to see happen in our department and set goals, and this is the way that we get things done and achieve things, by meeting together and coming together and deciding what we want to do in our department. So what does pie in the sky look like? A larger space for consultations and weight checks. We needed an area to make follow-up phone calls with privacy. We wanted enough staff to cover night shift, because babies nurse at night too, not just during the day. Postpartum clinic for moms and babies, both to get care after discharge. This is something that we haven't quite got to yet, but would love to in the future. Having a doctor or nurse practitioner oversee the clinic, which we haven't gotten there yet either, but that's one of my things on my next pie in the sky. And have a part-time lactation staff community educator, which we do have that, and it has been an awesome resource for us. So where we've been, 2006, there were a lot of changes happening. We now have 5 IBCLCs on staff. There's the 1,200 outpatient visits, and we had a 61% initiation rate. Administration proposed lactation becomes self-managed, with the LC taking the role of a coordinator. So that was good because then we can kind of self-manage ourselves. And administration sees lactation as the only service linking patients to the hospital post-discharge. So they proposed using available space, which was the lab that I spoke of earlier, for the OLC and retail store to expand services. This once again was our CEO. She had attended a conference and they talked about keeping the connection with patients after discharge, and she saw this as lactation outpatient services as a great way to do this. So in 2007, some of our dreams were becoming a reality when Great Beginnings opened. The lactation coordinator was designated, and actually 2 LCs shared that role, which I now do by myself, which having those 2 LCs still work in the department has been a bit of a challenge for me, but it's been a good transition so far. And all outpatient service shifted from inpatient to the OLC. So that was great for us. We were seeing patients in our little office. They would come in and sit on a couch in our office, and we had a scale on a little cart, and we would be managing all of our inpatient staff and our inpatient patients and staff in this office, and then moms would come in and we might have them lined up down the hall. So we were so excited to have this happen. And so from 2008 to 2014, we're seeing our breastfeed initiation rate rise every year, and obviously our outpatient visits were continuing to increase. The chart forms were evolving and lactation tools were being developed. We started doing yearly chart audits for quality improvement. We did chart audits on things like supplementation, skin to skin, and that was before we were even thinking of baby friendly and pacifier use and things like that, just to see if there was changes that we could make. It would make a difference in our mom's experience. We were collaborating with other agencies like WIC. We sent employees to be trainers for the 24-hour course, or the 20-hour course. So that's employee breastfeeding education, and we offer that free to any local agencies around our community. And then we also started a database to track information. We first started this for MPINK purposes because we would get our MPINK survey and we're like, okay, how are we going to fill this out? And so we made a database that had tracked all the information regarding the questions that they were asking us, and then we transitioned that over as we were doing our baby-friendly journey, so we had appropriate information and could track information. All of this because we're not on an electronic medical record, so we had no way of tracking. So as lactation consultants, we were putting information into this database, which was a tedious but needed thing. So 2008-2014 continued. In 2010, we became a milk donor depot for the milk bank, which is really exciting for us. We have moms bringing us milk all the time, and it's such a wonderful program to have. In 2010, we established our annual breastfeeding collaboration meeting, which we just finished on November 5th, in which we had the local WIC offices come and speak to us, which was very informative, and it was a great thing. And collaboration is a great way to meet the people that you might talk to every day but you never see their face, is to get everybody together so you can just kind of put faces with names, and it's always a really good time to get to know those people that you're working with in the community. In 2012, we started using donor milk for supplementation on the floor. So those babies that needed supplementing for low blood sugar, weight loss, high bilirubin, we were able, if the mom wanted to use donor milk, she could, which this program, when I talk about it, most people are surprised about because I don't think there are many hospitals that are doing this. But once again, we have support of our management, and they see this as a good resource for our patients, and so they are behind it, even though it can be an expensive thing for us to implement. In 2012, we implemented a citywide campaign to promote breastfeeding, and this was done by having signs on billboards, bus stop benches, and city buses. I have a funny story with this. One of our LC's sons came to her and asked her why there were breasts all over town. He didn't use that terminology, but he definitely noticed, and that was a good thing because we realized that people were seeing this education that we had put out there. So in 2012, our baby-friendly journey started with grant funds from the CDC, and we did that through the Wellborn Foundation. This was a little bit difficult for us because we collaborated with another local hospital, so there were challenges associated with that. But I'm glad to say that we made our baby-friendly journey and got our designation this year. And in 2014, we participated in the teen breastfeeding grant through IPN. I believe they spoke about this at the IPN conference last week, and to assist teens with lactation education and assistance, and this is funded by the Kellogg Foundation. I will say this is a program that didn't take off like we wanted it to. And after listening to the presentation last week, when our cute little backpacks that we got with the supplies in them, we thought we would entice teens to come into the program for that, and we learned that that's not exactly what they want. They just need somebody to listen and sit down and help them with what their needs are. So maybe we can revisit that in the future. So this is a poster just to give you an example of one of the tools that we used to do some education with the Baby Friendly. This is our 10 Steps to Successful Breastfeeding poster. And the cool thing about it is the moms on the poster are all local moms that delivered within the community. So where we are now. I want to start this by saying this is our lactation monster, I call it. We have 22 LCs, 14 are IBCLCs, 8 CLCs or CLSs, so that equals about 10 FTEs for what we do on the floor and outpatient and NICU. So we have 24-hour coverage 7 days a week. Daily we have 2 LCs to see inpatient, 1 LC covers the outpatient lactation center, 1 LC covers the NICU, and 2 LCs for night shifts with 1 on Saturday and Sunday and 1 part-time LC for community ed and outreach. We only have these FTEs, like you'll hear me say over and over again, and I apologize if you don't have your management backing you, but we only have this because our management sees this as vital for our patients to have lactation assistance available to them when they need it. But if you don't have a program that looks like this, just set goals. Well, the one way that we got to where we're at is we kept statistics, how many breastfeeding moms we were seeing, how often, how long we were spending in the rooms with them, how many phone calls a day we got. So we could go to management and say, look, this is what we're doing. We need more help. And so we have gradually, since 2001 until now, progressed to this. Then show your management that there's value in your service, and hopefully they will see that and help you increase your services. So just to show you a little bit of statistics here about our outpatient, you can see how they have grown. Our visits have grown through the years. In 2014, we had, I think, around 2,600 outpatient visits. And saying that, that might be a mom coming in. We just count the number of visits we have each day. So that might be a mom coming in multiple times, but a little over 2,600 in 2014. And this is a graph of our initiation rate, which I'm glad to see that it's a gradual trend up. And I just attribute that to all the work that we've done, like I said, through the years, and working on quality initiative projects and some of the things that we have done. So where we are now, we see all breastfeeding inpatients daily. We provide outpatient lactation services, including weight checks, consultations, pump rental, and supplies. We provide lactation services to NICU moms and babies. Kind of like I said earlier, we do have a NICU LC that does an 8-hour shift on days to see those moms and talk to them about their milk supply, help them with breastfeeding in the NICU, get a plan for discharge for when baby goes home. And the NICU LC also goes and sees antepartum patients that we have whenever she has time to educate them on pumping and breastfeeding. So they are prepared when baby does come, and if it does come early. We have our new electronic medical record, which is EPIC, and we were involved in the process of that build, and so that was good. We got to tell them what we wanted to see. We got some things we wanted, and we didn't get everything, but for the most part, it's working well, and we really like it. We've been doing that since August. We have dedicated FTEs for our community lactation education and staff education, community support groups and services. And Great Beginnings is a successful OLC with 2 of our retail clerks being CLCs. They just recently went to take that class, and we're very excited that they did that. Sorry, sounds like we're having a fire alarm, if anyone can hear that. So this, I've got some pictures of Great Beginnings. This is just another shot. If you see all the way back through that picture, there are 2 rooms back there. Those are the rooms that we use to see our patients. Just a picture of some of the pump supplies we offer. We are not brand specific. We will carry any brand that we think our mothers need. So you can see what we have there. Oh, down here is a nursing cover. I like to show this because you see down there in the corner there is a nursing cover which is handmade, and we like to carry products that are handmade or made locally. More products, you can see all the bras that we have, and if you see those necklaces hanging there in the middle, those are called jewelry. Those are made by a local mom, so it's jewelry for mom to wear. That baby is safe for baby to chew on. We also have an 82-year-old grandmother that crochets gowns and hats and booties for us, which are a very popular item for us to sell. So how we got here, we established the basics of the inpatient program, because in order to have a successful outpatient program, you have to have your inpatient program established. So hiring personnel, developing forms in our daily workflow, defining the role of the LC within the hospital, determining follow-up needs for patients, and then we establish a pattern of assessing, implementing change, and then reassessing. And that involves staffing, training, role refinement, patient services and follow-up, and annual strategic planning. So that was the setting goals like I was talking about earlier in the presentation. So with reassessing, there's always change. So every time we do this, we implement more change in our department. We consistently strive to enhance our reputation and role with the patient, staff, administration, and physicians. So how our OLC works, we're open 7 days a week. We're open Monday through Friday, 8 to 4 and 12 to 4 on Saturday and Sunday. We could be open 8 to 4 Saturday and Sunday. Well, really, we could be open 24 hours a day because we have moms calling us all hours of the night wanting to come in. So there's always that need for more hours that we can see moms. So we do free weight checks. Moms can come in for a weight check anytime they need to. We do have a $50 one-time fee for consultations, but like I said earlier, we hate to charge our moms, so this fee is often waived. And it's a first come, first serve basis. We don't do appointments. This can be a challenge because sometimes you might have no one come in for a couple of hours and then all of a sudden 5 moms show up. So at some point we might look into scheduling appointments, but we also know with moms with new babies can be challenged in their time management, and so they need to be able to come in whenever it's convenient for them. So who we see adoptive and relactating moms, pregnant moms with questions before delivery, breastfeeding problems, latching, engorgement, and sore nipples, baby problems, low weight gain, fussy babies, and tongue tie, moms that deliver at other hospitals or at home. We're not partial to who we see. If you need lactation help, you can come see us, no matter where you're from. And we also help moms troubleshoot with supply or pumping issues. So just to show you, like if a mom would come in and she were having an issue with engorgement or jaundice, we have some nice little handouts that we provide to them. And then we also have one on low milk supply and mastitis. So those are something that we have worked on, and they have evolved from just being on little white sheets of paper to we have sent them to our PR and marketing department, and they have made them very nice. So what we're doing in Great Beginnings and beyond, we have started selling donor milk in our outpatient clinic, along with being a depot. So those moms that are supplementing, because we use donor milk on the floor in the hospital, those moms that are still needing to supplement for whatever reason, when they go home, they can buy some donor milk until their milk comes in. We do look at this as a short-term program, not something that they would use long-term, but just something that for them to use until their milk comes in. We have established a Facebook page and breastfeeding blog. You can see the websites there for those if you'd like to look those up. We did this because we had a very strong support group going, and then we just gradually saw the numbers dwindle down until we had very little attendance. And the feedback that we got were moms were more online and have their phones and want to be able to access things that way. And so we developed these programs for moms to be able to ask questions and get some help online. We also have an online breastfeeding course, which is utilized some, but not as much as we would like to see. We're working on a corporate package for businesses to promote breastfeeding in the workplace. We have established breastfeeding areas and lactation rooms in the community. Bossy Field, which is a baseball field for an Evansville baseball team, and there is a section designated for breastfeeding moms to be able to sit if they would like and breastfeed while they watch the game. We have lactation rooms in several government buildings, Mesker Park Zoo and the Ford Center, which is our big center where they do concerts and things. Snuggle stations at fairs and festivals. This is a great way to get your facility out in the community for people to see who you are and kind of what you do. And you can also maybe sometimes get some education. All right, sorry, I had my phone ring. So snuggle stations are a good way to maybe even educate people in the community about breastfeeding that normally wouldn't be exposed to that when they're walking by your little snuggle station and wonder what that's for. You can tell them all about breastfeeding. So we do have some support groups that are in the community, one at our Evansville Christian Life Center and Memorial Baptist Church. The one at Memorial Baptist Church is run by one of our LCs, and it's called Wildflowers, and it is very successful, and it's more focused on inner city, and then the Evansville Christian Life is focused on kind of underprivileged moms or moms that don't have a lot of resources. And those both were started with the Indiana Community Breastfeeding Support Initiative grant. We're helping NICU moms. We have a NICU program for moms to receive galactagogues and breastfeeding supplies through the Deaconess Foundation. So moms that have been discharged and are struggling with milk supply or need supplies, we can help them with that. This is a picture, some of the same moms that you saw on our baby-friendly poster, but it shows a grandmother with her daughter, or mother with her daughter and the baby, and then a dad. And these are all moms that are from our local area. But this is the opening to our online breastfeeding course, Breastfeeding Simplified. These are cards that we developed to advertise Wildflowers and our breastfeeding connection. So they're pretty nice and handy to pass out when you're out and about and want to give these to moms or people that are interested. And this is the banner for our snuggle station. So we put that up whenever we have the snuggle station up. And I'm sorry, I didn't really elaborate on what a snuggle station is. Basically, we set up a tent and have an area for moms to come in and breastfeed and there's a place to change baby's diaper and things in there. And occasionally we partner with a local RV company, and they will provide an air-conditioned RV, and they have been at some of the county fairs, and that's very nice for the moms to have an air-conditioned place and comfortable place to sit down and breastfeed if they need it. So challenges we still face. ACA pump sales and rentals are down significantly because of the ACA. I'm sorry, pump sales and rentals are down. We saw basically a sharp decline in pump sales. We very rarely have any sales for pumps anymore, and our rental is down too, which is sad because NICU moms do need a hospital-grade pump. That's because insurance provides one. They choose to use that personal pump, but with it being a great program, it does have some downfalls. We're outgrowing our space. We'd like to have a bigger space where we could have moms that have the ability, when we're doing like breast massage and things like that, that they could lay down. So we are already working on our next pie in the sky, which is my next slide. Billing for services, which I hate to disappoint anyone today, but that's one of the things on my list of things I want to know more about is billing for services, because we just haven't gotten there yet. Our finance department sees this as kind of annoying, and they don't really want to mess with it at this point. So that's my plan for 2016, is to develop a plan showing them what they are missing out on financially, and hopefully we can move forward in doing some billing. And also a DME. I would love to have a DME right here in our hospital, but we also see that as challenging because of all the paperwork involved. And like I said earlier, scheduling patients, because our workflow, we can't plan our workflow for the day. We may see 5 moms in an 8-hour period, or we may see 20 moms in an 8-hour period, so we need to address that. So goals for the future, our new pie in the sky, what we would like to see. And actually, on my way up to do this presentation today, my PR person told me that we are starting a trial basis for our telemedicine. So we're going to be able to start doing that on a trial basis. So that's really exciting. So we're offering online consultations to mothers who can't come and see us. We see a lot of moms that deliver in rural areas, you know, that might live an hour and a half away. So it would be nice for them to be able to call in and get a consultation online rather than having to drive all the way in. So Great Beginnings online, which we almost have that done and ready to go. There's just always a lot of work behind the scenes that you don't anticipate. So we're just waiting on a few more things before that's done. There's billing for services once again on, and then my bigger space. And one thing that I had on my original pie in the sky, which wasn't mine, that was a long time ago, before, partially when I was just here part-time, that more services for moms and babies. So we envision almost like a postpartum clinic where moms would come in, 2 to 3 days after discharge and just get an assessment on both mom and baby. And then having a doctor or nurse practitioner on staff to help with that. We really would love to have some prescribing ability, and then those things that are beyond our scope, to have someone there to be able to help with that. So how you can start your own outpatient lactation center. So who should be involved? Your manager, managed care department, human resources, your charge master in finance, central business office, corporate compliance, coders, which is medical records, and materials management. As you can see, there's a lot of involvement there. You have to have buy-in from a lot of people. So how to start or enhance your outpatient lactation clinic continued. So develop your vision or strategic plan. What is the purpose? What do you want to see happen? Clinical services, pump rentals, retail sales. Determine options for your location. Can you use the current space you have, or do you need to develop it? How will you chart on your patients? This was a challenge for us because we did not have our electronic medical record. So we would take our lactation record with us and not put it in the mom's chart, and so then it would have to be turned in later. We would keep them for 6 months in case the moms came back. And then when we took our stack of charts to medical records, they did not like that very well, because then they all had to be refiled with those mothers' charts. So being on an electronic medical record has helped us greatly with that. Anticipate expenses and revenue. If your space, you might have to rent that out, or there might be a cost associated with getting it ready. Equipment needs, do you have a scale? What are you going to need to run the clinic? Staffing, the training that will go into it, and orientation. Your initial retail stock, pricing and managing inventory. Whether you want to do pump rentals, then you'll have to establish contracts for that. Establishing accounts with vendors, and learning how to bill for services. So number 3, learn the retail business, purchasing and setting up accounts, which this was something that was kind of foreign to us because we were all nurses trying to start this retail clinic, and we really knew nothing about retail or even how to run a register. And along with that, you have computer programs. So what computer program are you going to use for sales? We were fortunate because we already had a boutique open, and so we just kind of modeled ourselves after them as far as our sales went. So we used all the same programs that they had. Inventory and pricing, you have to be competitive with other retailers. One thing that we get when people come in, they see that we're a little boutique and they assume that our prices are going to be sky high and inflated, but we try to really stay competitive with the other retailers, if not even a little below, because we are really just in it for one thing, and that's to help moms get what they need. So, and there's, again, learning how to run the register and the credit card machine. And that can be challenging for someone if they've never done that before. Fortunately, I had worked at Walmart, and so I knew how to run a cash register. Help staff to address other aspects of the OLC. So there's going to be a lot of change. You have to move from your comfort zone, increase your skills. There might be more problems or things that you're going to see that you wouldn't necessarily see with the inpatient side. And you want to adhere to ethical practice while still considering profitability. Okay, and finally, consider the contributing factors. Administrative support. You've heard me say one thing today. It's that, you have to have the support of administration, and if you don't, I don't really have any great advice on that, other than, like I said earlier, keep numbers, prove yourself, keep statistics, and that way you can show that you are a necessity for the hospital or the facility that you're at. Continuing to work together as a department, and empowerment. It feels good to help the community. And then lastly, your reputation. We love it when we hear we chose your hospital because of your lactation services. So this just makes us feel really good. We mother mothers, and we just love to give them confidence and reassurance that they are doing a good job. So that all comes back to, if we mother the mother, they're going to put value in us, and that's going to help our reputation. And so I put on here some resources that I've kind of looked at a little bit. I can't really speak to anything that's on here, but these are ones that I found that I've looked at to help with billing. I knew people would be having questions about that and would want to know more about it, so I put some of the resources that I've looked at, but I have not made any progress on like a plan as of yet. So these are some things that you can look at if you have questions. This model policy for payer coverage of breastfeeding support and counseling services is a good one that I've looked at a bit. Okay. All right, in summary, our lactation department and role of the lactation consultant are fluid and evolving. Things continue to grow and change, and we must change with them. Support, education, reputation, and being proactive are the keys to making the vision become a reality. And I thank you for listening today and be glad to answer any questions that you guys might have.
Thanks, Gretchen. That was great. And yeah, I should have said something ahead of time, but if you have any questions over on the panel, on control panel, it should be on the right side of your computer. You can just type your question in there, and then we can read them off until we run out of time. And I don't see any questions. Barnquette, are any shown up on your computer?
Not yet.
Okay. Well, I have a few, so I'm going to start with mine. One thing I was really curious about, I work in a hospital, and I just wanted to know what your delivery rate was. How many mothers a year how many babies a year do you deliver?
Around 3,100.
3,100, okay. And how about NICU beds? Do you know?
26.
26, okay.
Okay, I do have a question from someone.
Okay.
And it says, are you separate from the hospital, independent private practice, but use their space, or an extension of the hospital? What EMR do you use?
We are an extension of the hospital. We do not rent space from the hospital. We are just an extension of services. So everything that we do is under the hospital, which is why we have trouble with reimbursement. Because if we were a standalone lactation center, reimbursement wouldn't be as big of an issue, but we fall under all of the rules and regulations that the hospital does, and so that makes billing a bigger challenge for us. And we use Epic for our electronic medical record, and we really like it.
Any other questions that have shown up?
Okay, it says, how do you handle payments? Fee for service only, bill as a bundled payment for inpatients, private payer billing for outpatients. Do you take Medicaid?
We do not take any kind of insurance. What we do is provide moms with the proper paperwork to use if they want to send it into their own insurance, but we do cash and carry. So it's a $50 fee. We charge that one time so moms can come back as many times as they want after that, but it is cash only. But like I said, if we have a mom and it's cost prohibitive to her, we just waive the fee.
Okay, and then I have another question. Can you share who your telemedicine partner is?
It's a new company. My manager is here with me. We might have the chance to look that up, but I can get that information to you. Yeah.
Okay.
And going back, we are 30% Medicaid at our hospital. We 38% Medicaid.
Okay.
Okay, that's useful.
And then, has your retail store been profitable?
Yes, I wish I would have brought numbers for that. I don't have that in front of me, but yes, we do make a profit. Our profit margin has gone down drastically with ACA because our big part of our revenue was from pump sales and rentals. So once we lost that, we have lost a lot of our revenue. We could be more profitable if we were more diligent to charge mothers the fee, but we just aren't.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, I have the name of the telemedicine. It's Secure Video Demo. Oh, Secure Video. I'm sorry. We did the demo.
Okay, the next question, can we have access to the billing resources via email?
I can send those to you guys so you can, yes, I can get that. Or do you want my email? Or does somebody want to email me? They can do that.
whatever's easier for you. If they would like to email IPN and go through us, that's fine. Or if you're comfortable giving out your email address and they can email you directly, that works too.
I can give my email address. That's fine. It's Gretchen.moody@deaconess, DEACONESS.com.
And then I have one more question here, or well, they keep coming in, so I'm just going to keep reading them. It says, how can people get information on the online breastfeeding course? Good question.
You can go to our website, which is just deaconess.com, and then there'll be a link to the Women's Hospital.
Yeah, I found that on my own one day, and it was really easy to find. I was very curious about that.
Yeah, it's a program, or it's our community lactation person developed that course.
Can you tell us a little bit more about what she does?
Well, she does a lot. She is the one that does like all the snuggle stations. She does a lot of our community support groups. She actually is our baby-friendly coordinator, so she manages all of the baby-friendly things that we do. All of the grants we apply for are done through her. And then business relationships, she does like a lot of the collaboration. She's responsible for the collaboration meeting that I talked about. And then the corporate package that we are working on, she has been a big part of that. So what doesn't she do?
What is the corporate package?
The corporate package is a package that we have developed for local businesses for breastfeeding education for their employees. So each month they have like a newsletter that they can hand out, and not just breastfeeding, it's pregnancy and then beyond. So they get a newsletter each month, and it helps them develop a wellness program for pregnant and breastfeeding mothers.
Oh, wow. That sounds like a topic for another webinar. Do you charge businesses for that?
No.
Wow. Any other questions you have, Marquette? I have a few more too.
Yeah, it says, do you feel like your outpatient lactation consults would be successful without the retail business?
Oh yes, I think they would, but I think the retail business just enhances that. For one, it gives a mom a place to wait and kind of look around if she has to wait. Plus, you know, we utilize that when we see moms if they need breastfeeding supplies. We can say, you know, we have this right here. We sell galactagogues and things like that. So, and we have all the pump supplies from Adela, Amita. We have the Freemie cups. So we just have all kinds of different things that moms need, and it just, you know, it just works really well for us. But the moms would come regardless, you know, even if we didn't have the retail part of it.
Okay, this is Chris. I have another question. So how are you funded? I mean, you have such a great program, and is it all paid through, like, who?
We are just part of the hospital budget, and so when we developed the plan for the outpatient lactation center when we opened in 2007 or before that, we kind of estimated, you know, what our retail sales would be and what kind of revenue we would bring in through our, well, at that time it was a $25 consultation fee. So we kind of just barely break even, like, and maybe sometimes, like I said earlier, make a little bit of money. But we are just purely, we have a budget through the hospital, and that's how we fund ourselves. We are, yeah, we're a department within the hospital.
So your retail sales go back, the profit you make from that does help pay the salaries of the lactation consultants?
Yes.
Okay. And you said sometimes break even and
Yes.
that. Okay.
Right. We look at it, the hospital looks at it as a service. We're
Yeah.
not looking to make money. I would love to make money.
You mean, yeah.
Well, I mean, through billing, yeah. I don't want, yeah, I would love to be profitable for the hospital.
Right. Right. Have you looked at your delivery numbers, and are you seeing an increase in that with your program? Like moms coming back to deliver again, and
I don't know that we specifically looked at that, but like I said, I mean, we do hear moms all the time say, we came here because of your lactation services. And that's not the only reason they come. We have a great hospital, and but we do hear that they come back because of that. But I don't know that we could put that in numbers.
well, it just sounds like you have a wonderful CEO, and she's very,
Yeah.
she does it. She wants to do this out of the. I mean, I keep looking for a return on investment angle. You know, it's like.
Right. Fortunately, we don't need that.
Yeah.
But some people do.
Yeah.
Hey, Gretchen, I have another question
Okay.
that came in. Do you give out breast pumps or shells or shields to your inpatients, or do they have to purchase their own?
We provide breast shells and nipple shields, any kind of breastfeeding supply that they would need inpatient. We have all kinds of pump parts and supplies. The pumps, we use a hospital grade pump while they're here if they need it. And then, you know, if they are wanting their personal use pump, we will send them to a DME to pick that up while they're in the hospital. But like I said earlier, we don't have a DME program, so we don't provide any personal use pumps, but we do have hospital grade pumps on hand for moms that need them.
Oh, and hey, would you mind saying your email address again?
Sure, it's Gretchen, Gretchen, .moody, MOODY, at Deaconess, DEACONESS.com.
And then, I think you answered this just a little while ago, but just in case, it says, how many births a year does your hospital have?
Around 3,100.
Yeah.
I have another question. This is Chris again. Are all your LCs paid through the same budget, or do you have separate budgets for the outpatient and the inpatient?
We do have a separate budget for outpatient and inpatient, but we keep them separate just so we know the numbers, but they're all lumped together, really.
Okay. And how do you utilize your CLCs? Are they RNs? Are they?
Yes, they're RNs, and our track here, when we hire an LC, she must be an RN, and then within 6 months we want her to have her CLC, and then when eligible to take her IB CLC. Our program is very training oriented. We don't always find people that are nurses that have experience, so we'll bring in a new nurse that may not have much, not a new grad, but a nurse that may not have a lot of experience in lactation, mostly moms that have breastfed before that are really excited about it, and then just kind of train them up and help them obtain their CLC and then their IB CLC. But we use CLCs just like we would any other LC. The only thing is we try to keep an IB CLC in the outpatient side, just because if a mom does want to submit for reimbursement, it should be an IB CLC taking care of that patient.
Okay, so you will provide them the paperwork to submit if they want to get reimbursed.
Yes. Basically just something showing that they've had a visit with us we don't have any codes or anything like that. At one time we had a paper where we would give them codes when we used a different program called TLC. We had a printout that had some codes and things embedded in it, but we didn't find that moms utilized it very much.
Okay.
Okay, I have another question. It says, I serve as a CLC and support women in the community. I am working on my IBCLC and plan to continue to serve as community support for breastfeeding moms. Can you suggest any ideas on how to collaborate with hospitals and/or doctors in an effort to build a practice?
Wow, that's an interesting question. So if this is an independent CLC, but is she a nurse?
It
doesn't say that.
doesn't say.
Okay. Well, I would just go to the hospital and let them know that she's there and maybe meet with the lactation department. I get calls all the time on people wanting to observe or have a mentor or just learn more about lactation and have somebody that they can follow, which is, it's very hard trying to run your daily practice and then try to filter these people in, but we do try to be mentors when we can. So just, calling the local lactation department in the hospital and letting them know that she's out there would be the best way to do that. And even like pediatrician offices, maybe sending out a letter or email to them, letting them know, that she is providing services, and just have her get to know the hospital services and addressing maybe what their needs are and helping meet some of those needs that they have.
Okay, good. And then we're not going to be able to get to all the questions. There's a lot of them. But one of them is, in what ways do you work with your local WIC office?
Well, that's a really good question. Like I had said earlier, our annual collaboration meeting was on November 5th, and we actually based our whole meeting around WIC, and a lot of our local WIC departments came and spoke and kind of told about their services. What we do on an inpatient, outpatient basis, inpatient, we keep a list, and we mostly do this for the WIC departments that are very local, like Vanderburgh County and Warwick County, of moms that deliver, and then we can't say that we do a great job of this, we try to fax that to them, or we're fortunate enough to have one of our clerks that works in Great Beginnings. She also works at WIC, so she'll come pick up the list for them. But we just communicate usually by fax or phone, letting them know when one of their patients is delivered, and especially if one has a need like a pump or having trouble, or we can anticipate they're going to need help with follow-up. That's usually how we connect with them.
Okay, and might have time for one more. It says, is your documentation in Epic able to be used for both inpatient and outpatient, one record for one patient?
Yes, kind of. Epic flows to outpatient, but we have a separate entity. We have lactation inpatient services and lactation shop that we log into. And once we log into that patient, we create an encounter, and you can link it to her pregnancy episode. But everything that we do on the outpatient side is once the mom and baby are discharged in the hospital, they're linked together. Once they're discharged, they're not linked anymore. So you have to chart on mom and baby individually, which can be tedious, but we have a way to connect the mom's chart to her pregnancy. So if she were in to see her OB and there were any issues, they can see what we do. And then on the baby side of it, we have a way that we send physicians that are on Epic our notes in their in-basket, or we fax it to them via Epic, so they can see what we've done and communicate with them.
Right, and would you mind, Gretchen, repeating your email address one more time, just in case anybody missed part of it?
Sure. It's Gretchen.Moody@Deaconess, DEACONESS.com.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Right. I think we'll have to, maybe we can have Gretchen answer some of the other questions and send them out or post them on the IPN website or something like that. This was just packed full of information, and we really appreciate your time today, Gretchen, and it's wonderful.
You're welcome.
Wonderful what you're doing down there and at your hospital, and how much you're contributing to the community too. I'm very impressed with that.
Thank you.
And I think we're going to feature your community a lot in the upcoming year at Indiana Breastfeeding Coalition.
Great.
I want to announce our December webinar. We hope to have someone from the United States Breastfeeding Coalition. They have a brand new website, and we want them to share about that with us and tell us what resources they have for everyone. And the other announcement I want to make is that we want to start a licensure task force in the state. So we are collecting interest level of that and licensure would permit IBCLCs who are not RNs to be licensed. Well, as I understand it, all IBCLCs will be licensed as an IBCLC, which will benefit our ability to collect reimbursement from insurance companies, which is, I know a lot of hospitals are wanting to get that going, and so we'll stay tuned for more about that in the upcoming year. But I hope everyone can join us in December. It's December the 3rd, always the third Tuesday, and it's December 15th. And that's it for us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.